Hi, I'm Barbara Thomas with John Ray Realty, and I'm here today at North Delta Title with Amy Sawyer and Larry Mullins. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about closing. Tell us, who comes to a closing?
You'll have of course, the seller and the buyer, and a good realtor.
There you go.
And then occasionally you'll have the lenders appear. Sometimes the lenders come, sometimes they don't. It's pretty busy out there for the lenders, so they have reviewed everything that we've done and the realtors have done to make sure all their requirements are complied with. So most of the time the lenders don't come, and if there is a problem out there, we call them from the closing and solve our problems. But usually seller, buyer, and realtor.
Okay. What can they expect when they come to a closing?
Well, to get a key or get a check.
There you go. I like that.
Well, there's about 25 to 30 documents that a buyer will sign. Probably no more than 5 that a seller would sign. A seller is going to sign a deed, a statement that there's no present liens against the property, sign a statement confirming Social Security number, and sign a settlement statement. The buyer mainly will sign the settlement statement, a deed, a mortgage note, and that mortgage note's important because that's going to show their interest rate. A monthly payment letter, which will show how much their monthly is. Everybody wants to know, what does it cost me each month? Well, we're going to have that for them to sign. There'll be a truth in lending disclosure, and that document shows how much interest you pay over the life of your loan. And a lot of people are surprised when they see that. They may change their mind and want to go 15 years. And then that's pretty much what a seller's going to sign. But there's going to be a lot of documents. The one thing that we like to do is for every document, we go over it with our clients, make sure they understand what it is, what they're signing, before they sign it.
What happens if a seller can't attend the closing?
Oh, wow. Then we need to have it.
Seller is going to have to give, most likely the spouse will be out of pocket. That's usually what happens, either the husband or the wife. So we are asked, and it's required, that a power of attorney be given from one spouse to the other. And that is a document that needs to be in Louisiana form. And Louisiana's a little different, as we know, on our laws, but it needs to be executed by a notary public and 2 separate witnesses. So that will be required by a seller, and same for our buyer. If one of the spouses is out of pocket, they need, or even if both, they need to give that power of attorney to someone to attend for them at the closing.
I see. Do you do the power of attorney, or is that something they would need to do on their own, or would you prepare that for them?
We normally prepare that. We feel safer with that, only for the reason that we know it's going to be in the form required by law.
And can you execute the documents by email? Do you have to send them overnight? Tell us how that works. Let's say someone is going to not be here, but they want to sign their own documents. How will you work that out?
You know, that's a really good point, because we can send the power of attorney by email. Then they will print it off, sign it, and they'll have to Federal Express or mail back that document. We need to have the original. So that's normally if you're in a quick turnaround, that's how we'll handle that. Otherwise, it's just we'll prepare it, Federal Express it, and they Federal Express it back. But email has really helped out expedite things. And
now, if they want to, they don't want to do the power of attorney, will you email the documents to them, and then how do they get them back to you? Say it's a seller and they live in Pennsylvania, and they don't want anyone that's signing for them. So how will you get that worked out with them?
We have done that before, and scanners and email are great tools, and we will scan and email any documents that the seller needs to sign to them. They can then print them out. The documents that are required to be signed in front of a notary have to be done, you know, to take care of Louisiana law. They need to be, just like Larry said, to be signed in front of the notary and 2 separate witnesses. And once they do that, then they can FedEx the documents back to us. The big concern usually on that side is, when do they get their money?
Oh, right.
And so that is handled once we receive the documents back and they're recorded, and we know that we have originals of everything that's required. Then we can wire their money to them or FedEx their check to them, however they want to do it.
Now, when they receive their documents, let's go back to that person who's in Pennsylvania and they've never sold a house before and they get their documents and they just panic, they don't quite know what to do. Is it okay for them just to call you and you can kind of walk them
Absolutely.
through that? Just anytime they can call you and be sure that they get it executed properly.
Absolutely, and we also send a very detailed instruction sheet with the documents saying, you know, what they have to do as far as a notary and the witnesses and how they get the documents back to us. But if they have any questions about the actual content of the documents, that's why we're here, they can call us and ask.
Good. Tell me about the closing's over, all the keys are exchanged, everything's done. Will they walk out with anything that day?
Yes, they will. They'll, the seller, if they attend at the closing, not like your Pennsylvania couple, if they are here, they will execute the deed, the settlement statement, any seller required documents. Make sure the buyer has approved the settlement statement too and is happy with their cost. We gather the money then, and then we will go and fund the seller right then and there, as well as a selling realtor. And they're usually free to go from the closing. And then we'll stay with the buyer and go through all the buyer's 25 or 30 documents, sign them up, and then at the closing, we will give the buyer their package of what they've signed that day. Then we go to the courthouse and file all these documents, and then we'll mail them any recorded documents later with another request to please go to the courthouse and sign the homestead exemption. You have to have a recorded deed to go sign the homestead exemption. So the seller will get a check and a package, and then the buyer will get their package that day too at the closing.
Thank you very much. Our goal as a realtor and as attorneys and closing offices is to make your transactions smooth. Call North Delta Title for any closing and call John Road Realty for all your real estate needs. Thank you.